Hi YouTube, today I'm doing an Ask Me Anything, and helping me today is guest star of Facefront Blog and my lifelong best friend, Joshua Westbrook.
Hi!
So he has questions prepared for me about my book, my novel that I wrote, which is currently in review. And I don't know what the questions are, and I'm going to have to answer off the spot. So, let's do this. Go ahead.
Alright, question 1. Your main character's name is Apricot. Where did you come up with that?
I have no idea where I came up with that, but the backstory behind that is that her mom craved apricots when she was pregnant with her, and then her dad was really mad when she was born that she was a girl instead of a boy who could carry on their lineage as royalty with their name. And so he decided to give her a name that he thought just sounded so useless. I think in reality what it is was my grandma has an apricot tree in her backyard, and my grandma lives 700 miles away from where I grew up. So it was always just like an adventure to go see her, and so in my mind I guess that correlated somehow. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I get that, I like that. Speaking of adventure, there is a lot of adventure in this novel, but there's also a lot of romance. So would you categorize it as an adventure, a romance, or something, a little bit of both?
It's definitely a little bit of both. I mean for it to be an adventure with romantic subplots. However, I can see how sometimes where the romantic feature might overtake the adventure in spots, but I mean, I'm a sucker for romance, so is my husband. So, I always love a good love story.
Who doesn't love a good love story?
Right? Who? I don't know.
Right. Now, you have some pretty terrifying villains in this story, most notably the one known as Maureen. Can you tell us more about her?
Maybe. I don't want to give spoilers for people who haven't read it. Westbrook was one of my beta readers. That's how he knows so much. And being my best friend since 6th grade, he has gotten to read a lot of it as I've worked on it over the years. That's how he knows so much. So Maureen, your personal favorite. Always siding with the villains. She is a witch, and she enjoys power and being in charge of others. She gets a thrill from that, I guess you could say. And she, at one point, got into some trouble, and things got out of control for her, I guess you could say. And it's that she lost control of what she was doing that leads to the entire plot of the book. In fact, we may get to see what her journey was mirrored in the journey of the 3rd book of the trilogy, which I am working on. I'm working on the 2nd and 3rd at the same time to make sure there's no plot holes. And I will tell you the protagonist of the 3rd book mirrors the journey of Maureen in her youth.
Interesting.
Yes.
Alright. So, in this book, you kind of play both sides. We feature what it's like on the royal side of the kingdom and what it's like on the not-so-royal side of the kingdom. Can you tell me a little bit about that dichotomy?
Yeah, so that was one thing. So I was a missionary in Hong Kong in 2013 to 2014. And while I was there, I got to meet the richest of the rich and the poorest of the poor. And it was such an interesting contrast, and I loved that dichotomy. So I decided to have it in my book. It's especially prevalent between Apricot and Gloria. And Gloria is Apricot's best friend. She's almost a second protagonist, you could say. And Gloria actually starts off as a hired best friend to Apricot because all the other children Apricot's age died in a plague, but she didn't because she had chickenpox and was already quarantined from them. So that's how they come into each other's lives, is because Gloria's hired out. But then Apricot, after the inciting incident of seeing her mother get killed, flees the palace and has to rely on Gloria's world and gets to see like what life is like out there. And it's I like that contrast. Is there anything else you wanted to know about that?
Oh no, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good answer right there. All right, now there is a character named Jasper in this story.
Yeah. Tell
me more about Jasper and his interactions with Apricot.
So Jasper's a quiet guy. But he's not like brooding or anything, like not the quiet brooding type, just the quiet like chill type.
Yes,
I don't get the whole brooding thing. Why do people want brooding guys in their story? Like, no. So he originally finds Apricot when she is basically clinging onto life by a thread, and he takes her in and takes care of her, patches her up, and he's very honest and open with himself about his feelings, so it's obvious that he like immediately gets a crush on her. But the fun thing is the two of them interacting, because Apricot will not admit that she has feelings. First of all, she was kind of raised in a pretty much loveless family, so she's not sure quite how to deal with feelings and stuff, especially her own. And so you see her throughout the book, she kind of like will blow up about something and go, oh wait, maybe I shouldn't react that way. And so she's trying to figure out like how to handle herself, especially around Jasper. But Jasper is kind of meant to be a dreamboat. And he's just an overall nice guy. And he never lets his feelings get in the way of what's right, though. Like, he's totally always willing to let Apricot go do what she wants or what she feels she needs to do. But he'll always be there for her if she needs him.
All right. Another question for you. One of my favorite chapters in the book features the backstory of Gloria's parents. Tell me how you decided to diverge from the main story to focus on two characters that aren't even, essential in the long run to the plot.
Well, I would say they're essential in that Gloria is very important, and her little brother Gregor is actually the protagonist of the second book. So I kind of need to have parents inserted there somewhere. Characters need parents. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not good at talking off the top of my head. That's why this is a fun video. So I decided to divulge their story because what it does is it world builds in a fun way that's not just an info dump.
Yes.
And it helps you see, like, why are they the poorest people in the village, and why they're in the circumstances they are. But it also explains that, yeah, there's bandits in the mountain. That's why no one leaves the two kingdoms. There are really poor, ragged conditions that these people are growing up in. And it's just another way for me to show that these kingdoms, though they look posh and grand and everything, from Apricot's point of view, are really actually miserable places to live.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right. I want to ask also about another one of the male characters in your book, Prince Christopher. He kind of flips the whole Prince Charming sort of deal on its head. Can you tell me more about that decision? What went into making his character?
Yeah. Prince Christopher, he gives off the air of, like, what a Prince Charming should be, but then when you actually, like, get to know him and look at what he's doing, you're like, wait, this guy is a jerk. I was just interested, at the time that I wrote Prince Christopher, I was interested in trying to defy stereotypes of fantasy characters, especially in a book that the main character is a princess. Because, I mean, I love princess stories, and I'm not against, like, having a nice Prince Charming. I mean, oh man, I love Disney movies, and I love that the characters can rely on each other. I mean, people argue that Rapunzel relied on Eugene too much, but he relied on her just as much, so I don't see the problem there. But I wanted to defy what I had seen, what I knew, and I was just like, hey, I'm going to make the prince a jerk, a self-entitled little prick, because why not? And the fun thing about that is it changes up the dynamics of what would have been a love triangle, because Apricot is betrothed to Prince Christopher, but like I said, she grew up in a loveless family. She doesn't really understand what love is, so she never considered it in marriage. To her, it's a contract, and she just was raised knowing she would marry him someday, but she never felt anything about it. So when she starts to have feelings for Jasper, it's a huge contrast for her, and that contrast helps her grow as a character.
Excellent. I want to come at you with one more question, staying on the theme of contrast. Gloria and Apricot are two completely different people that were thrown together in a very strange circumstance.
Yes.
But they're both thrust into this adventure together, so this story, tell me how their friendship and, between each other develops, and what it means for the two characters moving forward.
I'm not sure I could tell everything.
Okay, that's fine.
But it has enormous repercussions on the structure of the kingdom. I will say that.
Okay. All right.
Basically, what happens is when they start off on their adventure, they're like, okay, let's stick together all we have. But then they realize they do not get along as well as they thought they did, as well as they did in the palace, because they were both comfortable in the palace. They had what they needed. Gloria's boyfriend lived in the palace, so she was always happy there, even when Apricot was a brat and whatever. But then they're out on their own, and they're in the woods, and they're coming into contact with wild animals, all sorts of things, and they end up just, like, breaking off their friendship for a little bit. And it's while they have their friendship broken off that they really come to appreciate what they had. And they're able to use all those years of friendship to find each other again, despite not having technology to do so. And from that, I want to tell you the ending. It's so good. I won't give away the ending, but one thing I will hint at is that rather than like a Prince Charming coming to the rescue, or even Jasper coming to the rescue, or whatever, of whoever, I'm not going to say, is you have a friend coming to the rescue of a friend. And I thought that was such a fun thing for me to write because, like, when it comes down to it, your friends are people that you should be able to rely on and who should be able to help you through situations. And from an outside perspective, sometimes they can see what's better for you than you can.
That's perfectly said. All right, Eileen, I think I'm good.
Okay. So, if you want to see Josh's channel, go to his channel at Facefront Blog, or you can go to his actual blog at
facefrontblog.com.
facefrontblog.com. It is all Marvel based. Josh has more Marvel knowledge than anyone I know. He actually has been involved as a fan of Marvel since before the MCU was around. Definitely knows the comics through and through, and he has great content. So go watch his channel, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
I was a missionary in Hong Kong, and even though I was in Hong Kong, I was served. I cannot talk. Let me start over. I'm going to edit that out.
Take your time. Okay. Am I pixel perfect?
You're great.
Am I?
You're great.
My lipstick.
Here. Ooh, this would be a good thumbnail. I wish I could take a picture of this.
Me putting on my lipstick?
No, me holding the phone like this. But I need a hand to press the button.